you probably caught that, is to believe in myself before I have proof that I can actually do something. And realizing that belief, having that belief in yourself before you actually do it, before you have proof that you can do it, is what actually makes you take action and you accomplish it. Hi, I'm April Hampton, and I designed my home-based dog sitting and daycare business so that I earn well over 6 figures in sales annually while working less than 30 hours a week, giving me the freedom I desired and fulfilling my purpose while doing what I love. And this is the first home-based dog sitting business podcast that shows you how to think, act, and be the top dog CEO from the inside out, while applying fundamental principles of the universe to proven business strategies, processes, dog management, and marketing techniques, so that you actually create a business that supports your ideal lifestyle. A dog business you love because it is emotionally, physically, mentally, and financially sustainable. This is the Dog Sitter's House podcast. Hello and welcome to episode number 2. If you made it this far, then you are certifiably crazy. Okay, I'm just kidding. Actually, you are amazing because you are in the 3% of people who are willing to work on themselves in order to improve their business versus looking outside of themselves, which is exactly who this podcast is created for: growth-minded dog sitters. So welcome and thank you for joining. Today's episode is a chance for me to give you a little background that led up to starting my home-based dog sitting business and a few of the important lessons my life's journey taught me along the way that has significantly contributed to the success of my business. Which I should clarify, when I say success, I don't just mean financial success, because success can only be defined by each individual. Although there are a lot of similarities people look for when owning their own business. They typically want a business that will allow them to do all of the important things in their lives. Now, this could be anything from maintaining a healthy lifestyle, having time to go out, work out at the gym, or time to cook healthy meals, having quality time with their loved ones, maybe traveling with them on occasion, and basically filling up their days with the things that they most enjoy doing for a living. And that's just to name a few. But in order to build a business that accomplishes this, we need to grow on the inside first, which is why I thought it would be a good second episode to discuss a few of the inner growth lessons I experienced in my life that weren't so great along the way, while they were happening, of course, but I am forever grateful for in retrospect, because it's helped me build the successful business I love and one that's on my terms too. I think what I'll do now is start with some really short stories about some of the major points in my life that were some pretty big lessons and things that taught me how to become an observer of and master on the inside that I have been able to apply to my home-based dog sitting business now. And I contribute to the real reason for all of the success it has been. So, for example, when I'll start here, I guess, but I promise I'm not going to tell you every year of my life. But when I got out of college, I wanted to move to Los Angeles because I went to school for radio and television production, and I'm from Ohio. So I wanted to move there because I had this degree and I wanted to work in the music industry somehow. And I had three girlfriends who wanted to go. That all fell by the wayside, and I was by myself. And my friend said to me, when I said to my friend, I said, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? When the third one dropped out, and I was like, what am I going to do? And now I have nobody to go to LA with. And my friend asked me a really wonderful question that changed my life that day, because he said, what do you want to do? So simple, right? What do you want to do? And I was like, I want to go to LA and work in the music industry. And he's like, so go. Duh. So, okay. So off I went. And I went out there first and I set up some interviews and all that jazz. And I had two job offers after the interviews. And I had to decide between the two. And for me, I don't need as much security as a lot of people. So I was ready to do this and do whatever it takes, right? And, I had one job offer that was working at a small record label and management company doing, like their Friday girl, like their secretary that just does all the grunt work that nobody wants to do, right? For $400 a month. The other gig that I was offered was a freelance gig. So there was no guarantee as to how many hours I would get. But when I did work, it was something like, I don't even remember, but I know it was like 40 or 45 or something an hour. Okay. And we're talking back in 1998. So we are talking 22, 4, 5, whatever, 6 years ago. And this was this freelance opportunity because it was the opportunity to have access to a professional, massive music library. Okay. And I could take that music library and choose any music I wanted as the background music to the shows on things like the Discovery Channel and the History Channel and the Travel Channel. Okay. Like, it doesn't sound like rock and roll in the music scene, babe, but that fit me perfectly because I was the music director at my college radio station, and I'm not trying to be braggadocious, but it was awful before I got there. And then with the help of the team that I signed up as volunteers, we created a whole new sound for the radio station that fit the audience, and they loved it. And they started calling in and asking what song it was and what was the artist's name and things like that. Anywho, I decided, with the help of some loving people in my life that were concerned about my security, living in LA, being homeless at 24 years old, urged me to take the job that was a more definite $400 a month versus the freelance gig that it was like, kind of like you're not going to have very many hours until you work your way up and you develop a little bit of a reputation. But hey, you're going to be working two jobs anyway. So why didn't you choose that one, April? So, can you tell I used to regret this, but the truth is that taught me a lot. It taught me that suppressing your soul's desire in exchange for security also suppresses your possibilities. And that was a hard lesson to learn. So I didn't forget it. Okay, so now I go on to my next story. And my next story is rollerblading. I know, totally off the wall. What the heck are you talking about, April? Well, living in LA, I had no money. I'm working 78 hours a week, two jobs. And I finally saved up $200 after like 9 months of living there. And I slept on an air mattress and I had no couch. I had a boombox and a small TV. And that was about it. And I was like, I could buy a couch. I could buy a bed. Or I can buy some rollerblades and then I can have something to do for free because I'm broke. And so I bought the rollerblades. Now, mind you, I never rollerbladed in my life. And I knew I was going to be falling a lot. But I also had confidence in myself because I did used to roller skate every single weekend as an itty bitty child growing up. And man, I loved it so much. It was so much fun and it was good. It was good time. So I was like, well, I can switch to rollerblading because that's what's in now. I can figure it out. And I'll be a rollerblader out here in California and I have something free to do out on the beach, social, getting sun, getting exercise, meeting people, all that fun stuff. And so I bought the rollerblades and I found the most deserted beach in Southern California and I put on my pads and I went out there and I fell on my ass over and over and over and over again and again and again and again. I can't even tell you how many times I fell on my arse. Okay, I just, yeah. In fact, it was great I had all the pads on, but it would have been nice to know that they had spandex with padding in it for bicyclists. I don't know if they had that back then, but they do now, and those would have come in really handy. But the moral of the story on this one is it taught me that I do need to just let go and fall until I can't fall anymore. Because experience really is the best teacher. And it's the only way that you're going to improve your life. It's the only way you're going to improve your life. You cannot get there without falling. Okay, so my next story is when I became a real estate agent. I left the music field. I worked in television for a while. I left that, and then I became a real estate agent because I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I might be saying his name wrong. I always get his name wrong. But this book talked about the premise of having one father who had a poor mindset where he, thought you had to work hard to make a living forever, that you have to stay loyal to a company, that it's not easy. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money's hard. It's scarce. Money's hard to come by. It's not abundant. It's lacking. As opposed to his rich dad, okay? And he thought money was easy to come to. He just knew that money was a tool, and he knew it was in abundance and just constantly circulating this earth and so forth, right? So that makes sense, right? So I got into this real estate and I was like, yeah, I'm going to be rich dad, and I'm going to believe that money's easy to come by, and I'm going to make it happen because I love houses. I almost became an architect. That's what I first went to school for. And I'm going to make it happen. I love houses, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going to invest in myself because I'm worth it. And I totally am. But I'm going to make it happen. And, money's easy. I believe in abundance. And, I don't know if I totally felt that to my core because it just didn't work out. So obviously I didn't believe that to my core. Something was getting in my way. I don't know what at the time, but something was obviously getting in my way because I basically went from $40,000 in debt to up to $120,000 in debt, investing in myself, only to sell 3 homes before I broke up with the love of my life and I moved back home with my tail between my legs. Okay, so it was pretty comical looking back. But at the time, I was almost 30 and I was not happy with myself, or I was not happy with where I'd gotten to by that age. So I beat myself up for it. And, I just have to tell you this because this is funny, but to add insult to injury, I'll never forget that when I said I was moving home, even though I was almost 30, my mother was not letting me drive back across the country with all my belongings alone. And so her and my stepfather came out with their big truck and a flatbed trailer attached to the back of it. And even though I pared down, got rid of, sold as much as I possibly could, for some reason, I had to have my bed. Don't ask me why. Now I would just leave the bed. But for some reason, at that time, the bed was important to me. And I worked hard to pay for that bed. I was still holding on to this belief of scarcity. See, that's where it was. But I had to take my bed home. And it was basically like the only thing that didn't truly fit on the trailer. Everything else we got on there. But of course, my stepdad, being the amazing packer that he is, was able to get the mattress or box mattress, I don't know which it was, up on the back of the trailer so that every car behind us would just be staring at my mattress because it would block their whole vision, basically. I don't
don't know if you're old enough to remember a show called The Beverly Hillbillies, but pretty much we looked like the Beverly Hillbillies leaving Los Angeles. The irony was, it was crazy. At least the Beverly Hillbillies were coming to the Beverly Hills in their trailer full of their rocking chair and ironing board and everything on the back of their trailer as millionaires, because they struck oil. So they were multimillionaires now. But I was the exact opposite. I'm going home broke with my tail between my legs, with mommy and daddy coming to rescue me, and my trailer looks like the Beverly Hillbillies. I never scrunched down so far in the back of the seat until we were completely out of town, okay? So if that doesn't tell you how devastating that was to my mental and emotional health, I don't know what does, you know? So anywho, so what is the moral of this story? The moral of the story that really, it took me a while to get the moral on this one, but really what I come to figure out was that money really is easy. It's just a game. It's everywhere. It's in constant circulation. And it is easy if you have the right mental and emotional attitude towards it, or thoughts or beliefs, towards it. Because when I look back, I sold 3 homes and I earned, I don't know, somewhere around $60,000, I think it was. So let me think. No, it was probably more like $40,000, because I came home to Ohio with $80,000 left. And I was able to pay off $40,000 of it. And that was just with the sale of 3 homes. But, I'd invested a lot more than that in myself, and with student loans and a car loan and all that jazz, I still had a lot to go. But it was a good lesson to see, like, wow, yeah, once it comes, it comes. It comes in droves. And not only that, it was a lesson on seeing that the bigger the fall is, the bigger the lesson was for me. So here I am in Ohio, and I'm ready for a new job. And I'm only making like $35,000 a year, y'all, like $35,000 a year. And I have $80,000 to pay off, plus my living expenses, okay? The math does not add up. So I needed a new job, and I needed a new job that was going to earn double. I wanted double what I was making. I had to make more than $35,000 a year. Everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, April, you do not go from one job to the next and double your salary. And I'm like, why not? Why not? Why not? And nobody can answer that question. Nobody knew where they got that belief from, to tell you the truth. Now that I think about it, I think that's what it was. Nobody knew where they got. But luckily for me, the book 40 Days to the Work You Love by Dan Miller was put in my path. And this book made me believe in myself like never before, that I could find a new job, not only making double my salary, but actually one that I enjoyed a lot more. And you know what? I did it. I didn't just double the salary. I went from $35,000 to $80,000 a year in my first year at my new job. And no longer did I have to work in an office. I worked out in the field locally. My home was my office and my car was my office. And that is exactly how I like it, because I like to turn up the music and sing. I don't need to be in the gossip inside the cubicles in the office. I just want to be out in the sunshine. I love to drive, turn up the music, and sing. So, anywho, the moral of this story was to believe in myself. You probably caught that, is to believe in myself before I have proof that I can actually do something. And realizing that belief, having that belief in yourself before you actually do it, before you have proof that you can do it, is what actually makes you take action and you accomplish it. So learning that lesson was this huge aha. It actually works, right? Okay, so now the next one. This one got pretty dark for a while, but I just call them migraines, but it wasn't just migraines. It was memory loss. It was limb function loss. It was vertigo. It was projectile vomiting. It was falling unconscious for 8 hours a couple of times. And being like the exorcist at the hospital, just screaming for help, but not remembering hardly any of it. And these went on 5-10 days long at a time, about once a month, once every other month or something, for an entire year. I never even got headaches. And then all of a sudden I woke up 2015, Christmas Eve, and I had what I came to realize was a migraine, and my first one ever. And I refused to take any of prescriptions to help it because I knew from past experiences that the prescription drugs only masked the symptoms, and that there was a root cause I had to get to fix it, and that I could because of some past experiences I had and things that I learned. And so I tried a couple that the doctor gave me at first, and they just made me feel worse. I was dizzy. I was lightheaded. I didn't feel safe driving a vehicle, and I don't want to live like that. So the long and the short of the story is that I really came to figure out it was my central nervous system wigging out. And why was my central nervous system wigging out? Because of years and years and years of suppressing my authentic self, and years of being a perfectionist and not having boundaries and not developing a shield around my empathetic abilities so that they didn't affect me negatively every time I was in, a room with some bad mojo, right? Or letting go. Letting go was so hard to do, and it still is. It depends on what it is. Sometimes it's still so hard to do, it seems like, but it's easier. At least it is way easier than it used to be back then. And slowing down. I was so busy. I always had to be busy all the time. Like it was a badge of honor or something. And becoming an observer, meditating, getting curious about who I am, enjoying the little things, finding gratitude in the little things to big things too. The list is really endless as to how I had to calm my central nervous system. First, realize that's what it was and calm it. In fact, I don't even think I realized that's what it was. It was just all these different little things that I tried and implemented in my life and changed in my life, started adding up. And then in retrospect, I was able to figure out, it was my central nervous system wigging out. Okay. Because of what I've got going on in here mentally and spiritually and emotionally all the time. And it's just wrecking me all up, right? And then finding and putting those things in place, like meditation, getting curious about who I am, gratitude, all that stuff is, that's what taught me so many of the things that I now apply to my current life and business as well. And it's those things that I applied to my business that I truly, honestly contribute to why the business is in a place where I can enjoy 4-day weeks and 3-day weekends on a regular basis, and why I can take paid vacations every year and not worry about losing the money while I'm on vacation, and even, paying somebody to take care of my dogs while I'm on vacation. The moral of the story basically is that you just can't stress about all the unimportant things. And you just have to focus on what you can control, on making progress instead of worrying about the outcome, and having gratitude for the little things and the big things along the way. So this brings me to the end. You're probably, whew, thank gosh. Oh my gosh, how long has this been going? But hopefully I've kept your attention and I resonate with some of you, because this is what really brought me to dog sitting. I won't go into the exact details on that now. I'll save that for another episode. But it's these core lessons from my life that brought me to where I'm at and able to build this business that I love, that supports me, my values, and allows me to have the life that I desire, have that freedom that I desired, doing what my soul, my spirit desired to do, working with dogs, helping other people to work with dogs, to help more dogs, so that I could have a new relationship, so I could have time to work out and take care of myself and get in better shape and feeling like my health, like I'm vibrant every single day. But you see, how I started this business is a whole other journey, and there's a lot along the way that I have to share with you that has helped me as I continue to learn more. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll save that story for the future. And I'll drop a handful of nuggets that'll help you to start thinking about ways you can literally design your dog business so that you too can enjoy all of the other areas of your life that are just as important to you. And with that said, don't forget to follow me for future episodes so that you too can earn 6 figures without the canine chaos or burnout. And it's on your terms too. Happy tails to you until we meet again.